In Space Station 14, the Thief antagonist Round Start will spawn with a Thief Undetermined toolbox in their backpack. When you press E on it to interact with it, you'll get a menu that will let you select two different sets of tools, or just kits, from the list. First kit we'll discuss is the Anatomy Kit. The Anatomy Kit inside has a empty shaker, an Omega Soap, a storage implanter, which is obviously pretty damn important for being able to hide things, a DNA scrambler implant, an empty syringe, and a bottle of ephedrine. So, in case you aren't aware what the storage implanter does, you pick it up and then click yourself and inject it. In the top left, you'll get an open storage implant, and this is basically just a hidden 3x3 storage inside your body that can only be removed with another implanter. There is the DNA scrambler implanter, which gives you an activation in the top left to randomly change your name and appearance. And you will shapeshift into somebody that is not yourself. So I went from Eurus McCann's to Macy Hall. Omega Soap just slips you and sends you a pretty far distance. It is more than enough to stun and cuff somebody with this, so it is pretty useful in that regard. You can walk over it though. You get a syringe and a bottle of ephedrine. Ephedrine just speeds you up a little bit and makes you recover from stuns a bit faster. Up next is the Breacher Kit. The Breacher Kit features an advanced industrial welding tool, a remote signaler, 2 bricks of C4, insulated gloves, engineering goggles, a Jaws of Life, and multi-tool. The only thing that really needs explaining here is probably the Jaws of Life, in case you're unaware of that. The Jaws of Life lets you pry open any powered door as long as it isn't bolted. So it's basically like a free all access as long as, well, again, the door isn't bolted. But it's also a crowbar and wire cutters, so you get a multi-tool with it as well, so you can hack any door that is bolted. So really this lets you get pretty much anywhere you possibly want. You can unweld walls with this. You don't get a screwdriver, so you have to be cautious about that, and you don't get a wrench. So if you're trying to unanchor walls, this isn't quite a full set of tools for that. And then you can use the multi-tool to link the C4 to the remote detonator and have instant detonating C4 if you wish. Up next is the Chameleon Kit. The Chameleon Kit features a agent ID, so you can change to any job icon and steal any accesses from IDs that you find. Comes with a barber scissor, so you can change your haircut. Comes with a chameleon projector, which lets you disguise yourself as any object. And then in the top left, you can even anchor yourself or reveal yourself and fix your rotation. Basically prop hunt. And for some reason, you don't just get the full chameleon set. You just get the individual items except the backpack. I'm not entirely sure why you don't just get the bundle, but just be cautious because this is a lot of items. You may end up dropping them on the floor. If you're unaware of how to actually use a chameleon item, you put it on and then right click it and then click chameleon, and it'll give you a full list of items that you can select from. Up next is the Syndi Kit. The Syndi Kit has an EMAG, 10 telecrystals, a lighter, a pack of Syndi Kit smokes, which all have omnizine in them, a piece of paper with a singular syndicate code word, so you can ideally try to give the TC to a syndicate who might be able to help you with your steal objectives, and a radio jammer. The radio jammer disrupts suit sensors and any outgoing radio communications when it is turned on. You can right click the radio jammer and swap its power level from high to low. That changes its radius. So if you're just right on top of somebody and you don't want them to speak, probably have it on low. If you don't exactly know what situation you're going into, medium or high is probably the right idea. The EMAG can be used to unlock any locked object, from a door to a locker. So if I use it on this locker I don't have access to, you can EMAG it open. Obviously really useful for thieves. And the Syndicate cigarettes might be useful if you're hurt and your identity's caught but you need to heal. Could possibly consider purchasing this in order to get some free heals. Up next is the Sleeper Kit. The Sleeper Kit has a tank of nitrous oxide, which if you breathe it in, it will knock you out. You really can't make much use of this unless you use the other part of the kit, which is a hypo pen in a box. You have to pick it up and press Z to pull it out. The hypo pen is a hypo spray that only has 10 units. And you get 2 bottles of Nocturne. Nocturne causes unconsciousness when there's at least 8 units of Nocturne, meaning you have to double inject one person in order to knock them out. However, if you only inject 10 units, they can basically wake up instantly, but you could still cuff them during this time, so you have to be cautious about it. So you get 60 units, so you could knock out 6 different people, or knock out 3 people for a pretty long time, or somewhere in between. Just be cautious with this. If you're trying to knock somebody out for a long time, probably want to give them 15 to 20 units, not just the 10. The 10 is basically more like a stun than actually like knocking them out. If you don't know how to use the hypo pen, you just pick up whatever liquid you want to put in it and then just left click the pen until it's full, and then you either left click somebody or press Z to self inject it. And obviously if you self inject yourself with too much Nocturne, you'll knock yourself out, so don't do that. Next up is the Communicator's Kit. The Communicator's Kit comes with a station master key, which lets you hear every single channel on the station other than the Syndicate channel and CENTCOM. You have a voice changing gas mask. In order to use a voice changing gas mask, you must wear it. And then in the top left, you'll get a ability to set your name and your speech pattern to mimic whatever species you want to mimic. It is also chameleon, so you could change it to look like whatever you want. There is a Cybersun pen, which you can't use as a weapon because you're a pacifist as a thief. However, this lets you edit any paper that is stamped. So if you ever pick up a piece of paper stamped by the captain, you can edit it and try to like weasel your way into a good deal, like a promotion or something. You also get the lobbying bundle, which is actually stronger. It's actually pretty strong. You get black gloves, which are insulated gloves. You get a pair of sunglasses, which makes you resistant to flashes, and you get 20,000 bucks, which you could use to bribe cargo. And last but certainly not least is a Smuggler's Kit. The Smuggler's Kit gives you 10 Fultons, 3 smoke grenades, and an invisible crate. This crate is pretty difficult to see, especially if you're just hiding it somewhere. The crate has lost a little bit of value, I suppose, because now that the thief requires a thieving beacon, or you don't require it, but you kind of do for certain things, the thieving beacon needs objects around it, so you could potentially carry this invisible crate around with you and hide stuff in one remote area, and then you could Fulton the entire crate of your stolen stuff to the beacon itself, but you could also just Fulton the items to the beacon directly anyway. In case we don't know how the Fulton works, you get the Fulton beacon, which you just drop on the ground and alt-click, and then you take your stack of Fultons and left-click it, and that'll link the beacon. And then the Fulton something, you just left-click a object with the Fultons, it'll attach a balloon, so be cautious if you're attaching it to the invisible box. The Fulton is not invisible. You also get 3 smoke grenades, which are pretty self-explanatory. Pick them up, press C to prime them, you can control Q to throw them, or to stand them in your hand, or drop them on the floor, and it makes a pretty decently fast plume of smoke that has enough, it definitely has enough AoE to cover an entire hallway or an entire room. So you get 3 of those, you could definitely use those to make a grand escape. That is all the current kits and all their current items. Thieving kits and what's in them changes pretty often, so this video will probably be out of date relatively quickly. But this video should still help you make informed decisions on what you want and what type of plan you're going for as a thief. There's many different strategies. You can try to knock people out and steal stuff directly, sneak around trying to be undetected, whatever it may be. Thank you for watching.